In 2013, Wigan Athletic were relegated from the Premier League, ending an 8-year spell in the top flight. It was a bitter blow for the Latics, but there was a silver lining to the campaign. Despite being relegated, Wigan would reach their first ever FA Cup final. They would be up against Man City, who had won the trophy 2 years before, and the Premier League the previous year. The Sky Blues were overwhelming favourites, but Wigan had other ideas. This is the story of Pride of the Latics, Wigan's FA Cup miracle. In February 1995, former footballer and owner of JJB Sports, Dave Whelan, purchased Wigan Athletic. Whelan famously broke his leg in the 1960 FA Cup final when playing for Blackburn, and his side would go on to lose the final. Whelan said that upon arriving in hospital, he asked how Blackburn had got on, and burst into tears upon finding out that they had lost. Wigan had floated around non-league football for many years, and first entered the Football League in 1978. But Whelan harboured ambitions of getting the club to the Premiership. One of his first signings for the club was Spaniard Roberto Martinez. After 10 years, Whelan had finally achieved his dream, with Wigan sealing promotion to the top flight for the first ever time in 2005. Wigan reached their first ever major cup final the next season, but would lose the League Cup final 4-0 to Manchester United. They experienced an extended stay in the Premier League, going against many expectations. Roberto Martinez would be appointed club manager in 2009. Wigan faced a pair of relegation battles over some of the next couple of seasons, surviving on the last day of both the 10-11 and 11-12 campaigns. They constantly had to pull survival out of the bag, and it seemed as though it may only be a matter of time before they got relegated. Wigan started the 12-13 campaign poorly. Before the new year, they had only won 5 times, and were stuck in another relegation battle. Ben Watson also suffered a broken leg in November, ruling him out for many months. Wigan started their FA Cup campaign in January. They would draw 1-1 with Bournemouth at home before winning the replay 1-0 to advance to the next round. A 1-0 win away at Macclesfield was followed by a 4-1 win against Huddersfield, and Wigan were in the quarter-finals. The Latics faced a difficult task as they were away to Everton in the quarter-finals. Many assumed it would be the end of the road for Wigan, but Martinez's men had other ideas. 3 goals in 4 minutes from Maynor Figueroa, Callum McManaman and Jordi Gomez sealed a surprise 3-0 win for Wigan and a place in the semi-finals. Wigan were on their way to Wembley and faced Millwall. The match was unfortunately marred by violent scenes amongst Millwall fans in the stands, but goals from Sean Maloney and Callum McManaman sent Wigan to their first FA Cup final in their history. Wigan was still in the midst of a relegation battle, and at the time of the final were on the verge of having their relegation sealed. But their big day gave them the chance to quench the disappointment of the looming relegation. They were up against Manchester City, who were strong favourites to win. There were few who expected the FA Cup to travel to Lancashire in the Wigan coach, but Roberto Martinez made it clear he was not just there for the day out. Martinez hired sports psychologist Michael Finnegan to work with the team in preparation for the final. Finnegan had been working with Everton at the time of the quarter-finals, but upon having lunch with Martinez, was asked to work with Wigan for the semi-final and final. Martinez and Finnegan asked each of the players to write down why they were proud to be walking out at Wembley with each other. The players handed these notes in, not knowing what they would be used for. On the morning of the final, the players woke up to find one of the other players' notes placed under their door, and read the positive things they had to say about each other. Before the game, Martinez told his players that they had a chance to make history and make their families proud. Dave Whelan led Wigan out onto the pitch. Having missed out on the trophy over 50 years before, he had a second chance to be on the winning side. The 2013 FA Cup final kicked off in front of over 86,000 fans. Both sides had chances within the first 10 minutes, but Wigan were fighting much better than expected. Callum McManaman had burst into life and hit an early chance wide of the post. Manchester City had a great chance to take the lead around the half-hour mark, but João Robles managed to get his foot to Carlos Tevez' shot, and the ball went wide. A tight encounter would enter half-time goalless. Wigan had held their own and were not just along for the ride. The game continued as it had left off, with neither side able to find the net. Manchester City started to grow frustrated, and Pablo Zabaleta received a yellow card. The game dragged on, with extra time looming. In the 81st minute, Ben Watson was brought on, having only just come back from a broken leg. In the 84th minute, Aruno Kone played a ball forward for Callum McManaman. The winger ran with the ball, but was brought down 30 yards from goal by Zabaleta. The Argentine received a second yellow, and Man City were down to 10 men. The favourites were starting to implode. In added time, Wigan had a corner, which Sean Maloney would take. Maloney swung the ball into the box, and Ben Watson met it, heading across goal. The ball looped over Joe Hart and into the back of the net. Wigan had taken the lead in the dying moments. Dave Whelan celebrated, as the man who broke his leg in the FA Cup final over half a century before was now on the verge of lifting the FA Cup thanks to someone who had just come back from a broken leg. A tense few moments followed as Wigan tried to hold Man City off. City tried to pile forward, but they couldn't create anything of note. And soon, the final whistle was blown. Wigan Athletic had defied all the odds and won the FA Cup for the first ever time. Dave Whelan had taken the club from the lower tiers of the Football League to their first ever major honour. The Wigan fans at Wembley celebrated wildly as Gary Caldwell and Emerson Boyce lifted the trophy aloft. Whilst Wigan were on the verge of relegation, at this moment all that mattered was that the FA Cup was theirs. Only a few days after the triumph, Wigan were relegated from the Premier League after a defeat to Arsenal and have not returned to the Premier League since. Roberto Martinez would leave Wigan at the end of the season to take the job at Everton. Wigan would reach the FA Cup semi-finals the next season, defeating Man City again along the way, before losing to eventual winners Arsenal. Whilst Wigan have suffered greatly since their victory, with a number of relegations and a recent struggle with administration, their FA Cup triumph is something they can always hold dear. It is up there with the greatest underdog tales in the history of the famous competition, and amongst all the issues Wigan have faced since, nobody will ever be able to take their incredible FA Cup victory away from them.